Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are tuning in from. Welcome to today's Power Boost. So, as always, we bring to you what we expect will empower you. And so, today, our focus is on problem solving, which there are many in our lives. And so it's good to know that there is a spiritual solution to every problem. And you should find that very appealing because when the solution is spiritual, it brings closure and it is permanent. And so the reason that we are sure about this is because for the most part, when there are any problems that we face, we tend to focus outward, which is natural because we put our attention on whatever it is that needs to be resolved. But in truth, where we should always look first is within. So this is a reminder that whatever is manifesting outward starts inward. And that means that rather than seeing the problem or experiencing the problem as a physical one, when you look inward, you're looking to the source of the problem. And by looking there, you can bring to it all of those inner powers that we keep reminding you of, those subtle powers, those spiritual powers that will allow you to have that three-dimensional view of the problem. And so today, as we go inward, remember that who you are is the source. And so when you take responsibility for whatever it is that's occurring, that's causing you pain or causing you worry and distress, where you're going will not just stop the problem temporarily, it will change it. And that is what you want. You want change. You want transformation. And when you approach the problem that way, it transforms it and it transforms your relationship with it. And in fact, it disappears. But the first step is to understand and appreciate that you are always at cause, even if the problem may seem tangential to you, because it may not be something that requires a physical change. It may require a change in your perspective. It may require a change in your attitude. And as always, it may require you to have more knowledge and understanding of what it is that you are facing. And so spiritual solutions are permanent solutions. And so as we look around in our world today, and as you individually look around in your life, especially those long-term ones that you have been struggling with or that you have issues with, or people and situations that you have issues with, there is a spiritual solution. There is a solution that requires you to change. And that's why we're focusing there. It's the change in you that brings about the change in whatever it is that is causing you to be unhappy or causing you to be worried and anxious. That spiritual solution is going to allow you always to take responsibility for it. And when you do that, that immediately alters how it's occurring to you, because then it's not something that is happening to you anymore. It is something that you are able then to take responsibility for, because life really is never happening to you. You are making life happen. And so this is about taking responsibility for that. And when you do that, you then are in charge, and the issue then becomes yours to manage. And it's no longer at the behest of someone else. And so let's take this time we have together and go within and find that space from which you're able to observe yourself, observe the issue, observe the situation, and look at it from that three-dimensional angle: past, present, future. And notice immediately that just engaging with it in this way removes any feeling of helplessness, or especially any feeling of being victimized, because we tend to see ourselves as victim. And so to go from being victim to taking the responsibility for it and understanding it, it changes everything. You're no longer the victim. You are in charge. And of course, you will do and take the actions that are necessary for that transformation. And of course, where the power is your thoughts. With the right thought, the words and actions that proceed therefrom is always right. And so this approach allows you to examine your own thinking, question your own point of view with the assurance that you have the answer and that you'll find the answer. And remember, it may not be an immediate result, but staying engaged with it, even if you have to decide not to decide, you are still in charge. And it's no longer happening. You are taking responsibility for making it happen and for determining the kind of outcome that you will be okay with. And remember, sometimes the outcome is not what you envisioned. Sometimes the outcome means that you have to give up some expectation. Sometimes the outcome means that you have to accommodate a situation that you would otherwise not think that you should. But that, of course, is where your power lies. You're shifting from being or feeling powerless to your most powerful. And so the spiritual solution changes it in a direction that allows you to take charge. And that is the most important thing that today's power boost should leave you with a clear understanding about. Every problem can be resolved by going inward and seeing it in all its dimensions. And so that it is not something that you have no control over. It is taking control. It is taking charge. It is taking responsibility. It is awakening all of those latent powers that we sometimes and too often forget that we have. And that is our message today. That is to give you the strength and the assurance and the certainty, the certitude, the confidence that comes from taking responsibility. And there may be some situations that once you go within and you give it this examination, you'll discover that there is no problem there at all. That it was all in, we might say, your imagination. So it also removes illusions. It removes doubt. It removes fear, which is where most problems reside, in those subtle areas, those areas that you can't see, but you can experience. So this is giving you the power to change the experience, and as a consequence, change the outcome and change your relationship with it. And of course, the operative word here is change, because anything that you stop, especially if it's done forcefully, not necessarily only physically, but forcing your agreement or whatever you think it may call for, will only be a temporary solution. So the spiritual solution is a permanent one. And it would mean that that problem won't be recurring, as is the case with so many of the challenges that we face. Because when we change, everything around us changes. And so you are the change agent. And you want to think of yourself that way. You want to always see yourself that way. You want to be able to appreciate your own power and always look first at you for the solution. And so let's stay with that. Let's appreciate the changes that are at will available to us. Om Shanti.